It looks like it's 1 o'clock, so I'd like to call the committee meeting for the neighbors of Dunn County to order. Here it is, Thursday, December 18th. And the call of the roll, everyone is here except Barbara Lyon, who may come in a little late, and Supervisor Wolf is online. We have the minutes. And set your. Okay. Gordy, can you hear us?
I can make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. Have a second? Supervisor Story seconds. Any changes or additions? Doesn't look like it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any public comment? Dr. Brown, do you have a public? Okay. And just want to mention for those of you that will be seeing this on YouTube, Dr. Brown is up here because he was a former medical director, and invite him to come up when he's able to come to the meeting. And there was nothing at the request of the chair this time. So if you're ready, Carmen, now we go to 6A, Quality Assurance Steering Committee updates.
All right, thank you. So we met for our Quality Assurance Steering Committee a couple times since our last meeting. So we had a couple of different reports. Our most recent committee meeting, we had our safety report. So our safety committee is head by our facilities department and Brady. We go over the safety of the building, campus, equipment, everything like that, including resident safety as well as workman comp situations. Recently, we have been discussing putting speed limit signs out on our roads. Forbes and Howison are roads that the county maintains, so they're not city roads, even though they are addresses for us. So we are able to do that, and Brady has those. He has ordered them, and we just are going to put them in. We're intending to put them on the stop sign, so that one can go in now, and then the other ones will probably go in the spring when the ground thaws. The idea was we have noticed an increase in fast driving through the roads, and just a safety concern for residents, staff, and visitors. We have sent out numerous messages across the county as well, because it's not just NDC staff, but hoping to maybe draw attention to it with some speed limit signs. So that's the main thing that we have been talking about in safety lately, besides the normal reports regarding workman's comp, life safety code, and things like that. We also have had our pharmacist consultant at all of our QA meetings. That's something new. We used to have them quarterly to give their quarterly pharmacy report, but they have a new representative, and she's been coming to each meeting, which is nice, because sometimes there's different perspectives on that as well. And then if there is a current issue with pharmacy as a contracted vendor, we have an opportunity to bring that up at that time too. So that's nice. Any questions on QA?
Doesn't look like it, but I'd welcome Supervisor Lyons is here today now.
And then I'll move on to the employment activity report, which Chris is online.
Good afternoon. Everybody hear me?
Chris.
Hello. So I attached the combined October-November report into your packets. So for the October-November timeframe, we had 14 in-house interviews, 5 agency interviews, 14 positions offered. All of them were accepted. So December's report will have a good number of new hires in it. 7 of them were carryovers into December hires, but there was more than 7 December hires. So positions offered at higher than a step 3, 2 of them. If we go down to resignation reasons, kind of your typical school ending, college graduation, that type of thing. Open positions were adjusted as such. We just go down to work comp lost hours, another month with no lost time, minimal work comp type activity. And the number of lost shifts for October, November due to COVID was about 6. And Carmen might speak, there's a little COVID activity. But other than that, for actually 2 months, it was pretty quiet, other than a good chunk of hiring took place during that time. So,
Keeping you busy.
yeah.
I look at open positions for the last many months and it sure doesn't change much.
It really doesn't. It kind of ebbs and flows. And, you know, you gain one, you lose one. So
Okay.
kind of holds pretty consistent.
Okay. Doesn't look like there are any questions. Thank you, Chris.
welcome.
Resident referral report.
All right, so there are 2 of them in here. I'll go through each of them. For October, we started the month with 116 residents. We had 88 referrals in the month of October. We had 9 residents admitted, 79 not admitted. We ended the month with 112. We had 2 individuals transferred to another facility. We had 8 deaths and we had 3 discharges. Our referral sources are there as well. And then in the month of November, we started the month with 110 residents. We had 80 referrals. We had 13 residents admitted to the neighbors. We had 67 not admitted. We had 120 residents at the end of the month. And then we had 1 resident transfer to another facility. We had 1 death and 2 discharged home. And same referral sources. We have seen an increase in census over the past couple of months. I know we had a couple of dips when we had COVID situations and things like that. But currently we are averaging about at 120. So the 120 at the end of November has continued through now. We currently have 121 and technically 122 because one's on a bed hold. So we are pretty much at our max capacity with still having a household closed. So we did have a time where we were completely full for a couple of days. So our admissions team and their nurses were real happy with that because the admitting process, as you learned during county board during my annual report, is a lot of work. So they had a little bit of a break for a couple of days, but then we had some discharge and deaths and now we're filling them back up. But census has been really high, which is good. Any questions on that?
Supervisor Lyon.
8 deaths in October. Is that an unusually high number or given the total census?
No, our death range, the 1 death in November is very low. We normally have, I would say, about 5 to 10 a month.
Okay.
It really just kind of depends, but 1 death in a month is probably the least I've ever reported in this.
Oh, wow.
So 5 to 10 would be the average.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
That it for you? Okay. Austin and Brady, we're up on 6D, environmental and facilities report.
For the last 2 months or a month and a half, it's been busy doing a lot of salting and snow removal. There's been a lot of that going on in the last month. Staffing is back to what it was before we got our other part-time staff member back in custodial. So that is back to normal on the custodial front. We've been getting help from the 2 guys here at Government Center, helping do work orders and things like that over at the neighbors. They've been a lot of help, helping doing some repainting even in spots, but things that kind of got put on hold a little bit because of all the snow we've been getting. There's been some heat-related issues over there, mostly with, we had a couple of issues with a few heat pumps, had to replace a compressor in one, reversing valve in another. But the biggest issue is in the kitchen. I had a contractor come and look at it's called an Aeon unit, which supplies the main heat to the kitchen. That contractor told me that the gas regulator up on the roof wasn't the right size for supplying the Aeon unit and the makeup air for the hoods. I reached out to another contractor that actually does like heating and ventilation stuff, and he said that we should not have two units on one regulator. When he looked at it, he said the regulator that's there is an interior regulator that was never designed to be on the outside of a building. He said it was kind of jerry-rigged to make it an exterior one. And then he said the other thing too is the pressures were jacked way up on it. And he says that's hard on the equipment. So I just signed a contract this morning they're going to replace the regulator that's up there with two exterior regulators. And we should be getting rid of any heat related issues. This has been ongoing since I've been at the neighbors as well. It's when it gets really cold out, temperature drops to about 0 degrees, we lose the kitchen heat, and it's a matter of resetting everything and getting it fired back up. Hopefully this will be taken care of now. So life safety side of things, we're just doing some minor maintenance and everything is going good on the paperwork end of it. And yeah.
Any questions? Yep, go ahead, Supervisor Story.
Regarding the temperature changes, does it have anything to do with the windows not being, adequate enough? Because I know that in my house, based upon where I'm located and where the thermostat is, that sometimes it has to do with where you are at in the building. And when you reach a certain temperature, then you're not able to it gets cold and you have to do something different.
No, a lot of the heat related issues is, a lot of these heat pumps don't run in the summertime. If they do, they don't run a lot. And we don't really notice if the air conditioning isn't working perfectly. And when the heat kicks on, we notice when the heat isn't working. So that's when we notice that there's issues with the heat pumps.
Okay.
On that regard, the windows at the neighbors are very good windows as long as they're closed and locked. And we did a safety review on all the windows this year and made sure that nursing staff went through and locked all the windows and made sure everything's closed up tight. So getting ready for winter. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Gordy, anything?
Yeah, that I just had a question. Do we have any recourse to the contractor that put an inside regulator on the outside?
I would say it's been over 10 years. I don't
Okay.
believe so at this point.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I bet you were a little surprised when he gave you that
It
information.
was, yeah. I knew there was issues up there, but I didn't realize the extent of it. And I was told this will fix our issue. So
Well, that's.
no more monitoring it in the middle of the night like I have been lately.
Well, good job. Good job taking care of it, following through. Anything else, Austin?
Just facilities. As a crew, we're down one full-time maintenance tech for a little while here on medical leave, and we had another facilities tech out for 2 weeks. So we're running a little bit lean right now, especially if there's snow, but that's been a main focus, is getting out ahead, and especially with our 24-hour operations at the neighbors and the judicial center. So before shift changes, stuff like that. So that's been a huge priority for us this year. The guys going out right now to salt before this turns to ice here about 6 o'clock tonight. So I think the team has done a very good job on getting ahead of things, being proactive versus reactive. And we are running a little lean right now, just with who we have out. But I think things are going very smooth from our side of things. And the cross training that has happened over the past few months with a bunch of the other facilities techs and workers over at the neighbors, as well as on the custodial side, has been a huge help, and I think they really enjoy it, being a part of um, both facilities at the neighbors governance center and so on. So it's been good, but any other questions and suggestions, just let us know.
Anything right now? I bet that was a side benefit you hadn't planned on, that they enjoyed moving back and forth, or maybe you knew it. I don't know, but that's cool. Thank you. Thanks for being here too.
I did have one more thing under environment and facilities.
Okay.
And I'm not sure the depth of knowledge of this yet. I know it has been shared publicly. So the neighbors and myself have been involved in the discussions of the sale of the land in front of the east building, due to some shared space there. So it was just brought up that it should also be mentioned in this committee, and it falls under facilities and environment of, that I'm involved in those conversations, and we're working to make sure that whatever is built there is safe for the neighbors' residents as well. And then also is something that wouldn't be too not visually appealing. So that was something also when we had discussions about selling the farmland previously and or doing solar panels in that discussion. I was involved in that as well to make sure that we're not putting eyesores for our residents right outside their windows. So I've been working with Jenna and Dan on discussions for that as well. One of the big concerns that I had was right outside of Tender Hearth, which is the neighborhood on the east side of the building, that on the, what would that be, southeast side of the building, that there is a retention pond there. There's already a retention pond there. How it currently stands, it is mainly a dry pond. So that was something that was just a bit of a concern of if there is additional building and need for water to be dispersed to an area that it may become not a dry pond, and just worried about a safety hazard if a resident were to walk into it. So we've been in discussions about fencing and things like that as well. So just so that you're all aware that the neighbors is being considered in all of those things as well. And we're working together to make sure it's safe. And I quite frankly think it's an awesome idea, and our residents are going to love it because they're get to watch kids on a playground. I can't think of something that most of them would enjoy more. We have the play group from Dunn County come to the neighbors about once a month right now, and our residents absolutely love it. So we think it'll be a good idea.
I'm not sure how much you know, because I don't know what committees you're on. Have you heard anything? Have you? Oh, okay. So you want to just describe real briefly just where it is and what they're looking to do?
Yeah, so the land outside of the east building, so the one closest to this building, is currently the facilities committee has, I believe, voted to sell the land and have it be used to build a daycare. So Jenna's here as well, so she can probably talk more on it. But looking at having a daycare on that property, that would be right in front of the east building. So Dan and Jenna had talked to me at length about it, just making sure that we're keeping things both in regulation, safety, and then also the best interest of the
Okay.
residents as well.
And I don't think they voted to actually sell it.
Yeah,
right?
Yep,
Correct
that's,
me.
so we were just asking for direction on, is this something that you would be interested in us exploring more? It has been quite a time commitment and a lot of people involved, and so that is, we're in the exploratory phase still. And then that any sort of actual agreements to selling would come back to that committee, would go to executive, would go to the full board. So there's still a long road ahead, but yes, ensuring that all of the considerations with the neighbors are there, and we'll keep this committee as updated as we can.
And it's for a daycare center. Yeah.
Mhm.
And after school care even maybe, huh?
Yes, yep. So there's something new every day that as we kind of explore this more, there are some limitations with that current lot that's being looked at. It still could change quite a bit, but we are definitely excited about the potential opportunity to bring another childcare facility to the community. And we hope that the board feels like it's a good fit to be near a government center and near the neighbors.
And to speak to that of having a childcare facility in Dunn County and in Menominee is that we do at times lose staff due to the wait lists at healthcare or at childcare facilities, excuse me. So that was part of the idea too, is looking at the need in our community and that it could benefit staffing on the fact that there's more available spots because the daycare wait lists are up to a year long at some places. So.
Thank you.
Question.
Yep, go ahead.
Just wondering where we were going to have a facility in another area there that was going to be an assisted living kind of facility and daycare. Is this the same company that's wanting to do this, or is this a private company or a individual or?
It's a private individual couple,
Okay.
local family that is just looking to, they're currently running an in-home daycare out of their
Okay.
home and they're looking to expand and build a facility so that
Okay.
they can meet the need of more kids needing
And
care.
Traffic has also been a consideration.
Yes, yep, we've been in conversations with the highway commissioner, the state. A lot of people, a lot smarter than me in those areas have been engaged in the process. Thank you.
Barbara, you have a question?
No, just a comment. The people who are interested in buying the property, she's a licensed and she's an expert in the field, right?
I don't
think-
want to get too far.
No, I
into
understand
that,
that. I
but-
just-
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I-
let's
I
kind
just-
of
I-
keep it to the
I-
facility.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a local, it's a local, not a corporation.
Correct, yeah, private owners. I will say, I think the background is healthcare, her previous.
Okay, we'll
Expertise
keep it with that, but keep it as a facilities. Just to comment, it isn't a secret. She came to a meeting, so it's not a non-disclosure in this case at all, like before. Yes, sir, Mr. Supervisor Laufer.
Just curious, was this land put up for bids, or whatever, by the county for anyone that could bid on the land, or wasn't even considered until they came and approached the county to buy it?
So the land hasn't been listed for market per se, but the interest, we were approached.
You were approached. Okay.
And also our economic development director helped kind of make the connection of, we have someone interested in developing this facility and maybe this could be a fit. So that's kind of how the conversation.
And how
began.
much land was it?
They are looking for about 2 acres.
That's not the entirety of the.
It is
property.
not,
Just
no,
want 2
no.
acres.
And so at this point, and there's many steps to be followed in working with the city of Menominee, but would need to subdivide either kind of option that's being looked at, so.
And has there been any kind of a price or anything placed on the property that, that we're expecting or that we're looking at? Has there been an offer? for
There
the
is
land?
currently not an offer, still beginning conversations on what could be. And then we would be waiting for kind of that letter of interest or purchase agreement to be proposed. So we're not quite there yet, but when and if that occurs, the first entity that would see that would be the facilities committee.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, thank you.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So just as a recap, this was a little heads up because it's the property right here and Carmen's been involved in it quite a bit and it's not set. There's a whole kinds of stuff yet to do and it'll go back to the facilities at least once more. Who knows? But and then on up through eventually the board would have to approve it.
Mhm. Yeah, I will say even just today, right before this meeting, there were questions about the location and so we will bring that back for discussion and at the January facilities committee meeting, if you're interested. So it's likely to go back 2 more times to facilities before it would move any further.
And if you watched the last facilities meeting, It's, you can see the person that wants to do it, and it's a real nice explanation. Jenna and some other people did a real nice presentation, so gives you a good background on it. So, thanks, being, we went a little astray, but that's good. That's okay.
Okay.
Now we get to go from that fun thing to COVID.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, a COVID update. So we have seen an uptick in COVID over the past couple of months. We have seen quite a few staff in the past couple of months have COVID or other illnesses for that matter. We have had quite a bit of staff out sick. So when that happens, just a reminder, we have to close down the household that the person either worked in or lived in for 14 days for an outbreak for admission purposes. That being said, the residents don't have to be in their rooms or anything like that. They can still pretty much everything functions as normal. We do have staff and visitors mask during that time frame. In the past couple of years, we have seen a trend of an uptick around the holidays. More people are together, more illnesses going around, germs spread, all of those things. So it is unfortunate because it has dampened some holiday plans sometimes because we do not commingle residents from households that are in an outbreak versus a household that's not in an outbreak. Because the last thing we want to do is spread illness to even more places. So that has sometimes been a little bit difficult, especially for our activities department. For example, we typically take a whole building on an outing versus a household. So if one household has an outbreak and another one doesn't, we have to do 2 trips or reschedule and things like that too. So it has been a little bit challenging, but so far we haven't had any significant issues of COVID. Everybody has been fine and recovered well. So we're not seeing the drastic outcomes that we used to see with COVID of significant health issues or even death. But we still do see quite a few cases.
Supervisor Lyon.
Our staff are not required to get the COVID vaccine, right?
No, they are not.
Okay. Are they encouraged?
Yes, actually, by regulation, we are required to encourage. And encourage is maybe not the right word, but educate. So we're required to have educational materials. We're required to have postings, messaging, things like that. That is something that when the surveyors come to our building for an annual inspection, the infection control part of it, that is something they ask, is that even if people didn't receive it, were they educated on it? And did they sign a declination form? So we have all of those on record. We do strongly encourage it, but it is not required in any way. We have noticed that people are getting vaccination fatigue, is I believe what they're calling it. The more and more we're asking people to get vaccinated for both COVID and flu, the less acceptance rate we have. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we do encourage it very strongly for both flu and COVID.
You do? Oh, Supervisor Story.
Question would be, since they are encouraged, but they don't necessarily do it, are they paid when they are off because have COVID? Do they get a payment as a result of?
If they're a full-time employee, they would use their sick leave benefit for that, just like any other illness. If there's a
Okay.
part-time employee, they are not paid, but it's not based on vaccination status.
Okay.
Supervisor Lawfer.
Yeah, do you ever foresee, or is there any other disease that is treated with the same type of reverence as COVID is? Like, is there any other flu or viral infection that's treated in the same way as COVID is treated?
Not in the same way. There are other illnesses that we do have very specific parameters about. They're just not as common. So we don't see big situations, but like say we had someone with TB, we would have very strict regulations on that, or anything that's highly contagious, there are very strict guidelines on. So not the exact same, and it's not as talked about because it's not as common. I think that's probably the big difference. They have changed some of the COVID regulations. I mean, since the very beginning, it's changed hundreds of times. But I don't foresee the standard right now going away. Because the risk there is then people could get sick and die, and the people making the regulations don't want that responsibility, I think. So I think right where we're currently at is where most things are gonna stay for that.
That was my next question. Do you ever foresee down the road where COVID would be, or the standards of reaction to COVID would be less than what they are now as time goes on? Are we ever going to outlive COVID?
Well, now there's a good philosophical question.
Yeah.
And I will take you off the hook on that, because you don't know that answer.
Yep.
Okay, but you gave us a little clue as in the short term here.
Yeah,
So,
and
okay,
things do
so-
change, so
Yeah.
we don't know.
Thank you.
Let's see, it's COVID, still with us. Survey activity.
Yes. Okay, so since the last time we met in October, we have not had any annual surveys, even though we are quite overdue for the East annual survey. Part of that is due to the federal government shutdown. So state surveyors are contracted through CMS, so they're state employees, but they are contracted to basically do the work of CMS, which is a federal agency. So during the shutdown, they did not do any annual research for federally regulated facilities. So that includes us. They did do complaint surveys though, and we saw an uptick in complaint and self-report surveys because they didn't have annuals to do. So they were catching up on any sort of complaint, and I think they came in on everything. So we actually had 4 complaint or self-report surveys. So that can be a complaint from a family member, a resident, a staff member, really anyone can file a complaint. They're always anonymous. Or if we have a self-report survey, so if we investigated something, we reported it to the state, they can come in and review those as well. Those are normally saved for if there's a really big issue they come in to review. They seem to come in on more, and I think, like I said, they just didn't have as much to do without annual surveys, so we got to see them more often. So within the course of about 5 weeks, we had 4 surveys. One was actually a contracted surveyor, which was interesting. We had not had those yet. Due to states being short-staffed, they have hired out contracted surveyors. So she actually came from somewhere else in the country and conducted that was a complaint survey. So that was an interesting thing. I had colleagues in other areas or other nursing homes that had them before, but we hadn't. All 4 went pretty well. We did have one of the 4 that had a minor citation. They didn't think anything drastic happened. That was on a self-report survey, not a complaint. But it was that the surveyor thought we should have done one thing differently. In her opinion, it wasn't how we didn't do something how she would have done it. So she gave us a investigation citation, and at the lowest level. So not worth fighting. So we did the plan of correction for that, and that has been done. The other 3 were unsubstantiated complaints with no citations, and all went smoothly. But it is just extra stress and work for everybody while they're there. So they were 2 days in a row, so that was a little bit rough, but we got through it. So, and all with pretty good outcomes. And we're expecting our East annual survey any day. So that we are given a 9 to 15 month window. We are past 15 months. So I joked last week that they'll probably show up next week, the week of Christmas, which they have done before, but hopefully not.
Okay. As usual, good report, and this is for 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great. Some kind of legislative agenda that you
All righty.
talk about.
Yeah.
That's 6G.
Yes. So every year we put together a legislative agenda as a county, and every standing committee brings items to that agenda. So it was asked to be put on the committee meetings as a discussion point to talk about anything that this committee would like to be included on the county's legislative agenda. I can discuss what we have put out there in the past from NDC's committee, as well as my thoughts, but as a committee, this is your committee to bring forward. So it was put on as a discussion point, and then I can formally write something up for a next meeting to have as an action item to be recommended from this committee as well.
So which of the recommendations that we had do you want to carry forward?
So the one that I would say is probably the biggest one at this point is about Medicaid rates. So Medicaid rates are great right now. Once we hit 2027, on the other hand, that could change. So that is up to what the state wants to do when the federal funding situation becomes a question mark. So the state has the ability to budget how they would like to budget, and put money in the buckets they want to put money in. So advocating for the Medicaid rate costs to continue even without the same level of federal funding. So I think I've discussed this in the past that Wisconsin is sitting better than some other states due to not accepting federal Medicaid expansion dollars, just because the state has been funding more on its own for the past couple of years than some other states have. So we already are used to that lift, so it's not quite as drastic as some states would have. But having the state support the cost to continue is the verbiage that they use for Medicaid rates, so that we do not see, at a minimum, not decreases to the Medicaid rates for long-term care. That would be the big one. I think that's the one that all the attention should go to, in my opinion, just because that's really dire.
Supervisor Story,
Time sensitive.
talking to,
How time sensitive is that one?
In what way? I guess elaborate more, please.
Well, if it's a legislative agenda
Mhm.
and we're concerned about what may be happening in the current year or next year, when would the legislative decisions have to be made that would impact us one way or the other?
Sure. So the state signs their biannual budget not this year, next year. So the biannual budgets are 2-year terms. So we typically, when I say we, I mean associations, nursing homes, things like that, do our big lobbying pushes in the year that it's going to be signed in. So we did that last year, went to the Capitol, talked to legislators, things like that. So this year, I don't know how much they can do unless they did some special action thing like that, but more looking for the next biennium. But the county does a legislative agenda every year, so it to just include it on there. So, in my opinion, keeping things on their brain all the time is beneficial than just when you need it, so that they're thinking about it and not losing track of the things that are needed in the community.
Thank you.
now, in the past, we had a statement, something about allowing for all the universities or Stout in particular to have other programs that would
Mhm.
help us out.
Yes, so we could, that also still is a possibility. I don't know if, when I have talked to the university system in the past, so that is a state situation where they do not allow basically universities to compete with each other, is what it's based on for programs. What I have also been told is even if Stout was allowed to have a nursing program, they probably wouldn't because they don't have the space. So that's another part of it too. But we definitely could still advocate for it because taking a barrier away would be helpful too.
Well, Carmen, you're the one that's involved with the whole state program and everything else. You have a real good idea of what's possible and what's needed. Why don't you come back with,
Sure.
especially the Medicaid one, but
Okay.
any other things that you need done?
Okay.
Is there ever anything you've talked to us about? If you lose a bed, you never get it back because the state doesn't want to have any. They want to shrink it. Is that even worth talking about?
Yeah, actually, so that is currently on, there is a bill, and it's currently being talked about.
I didn't. Is that good for us to talk about for a legislative something put on?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
where I was kind of going.
Oh, okay.
So, there is currently a bill that's out there discussing that, which the associations have been pretty adamant actually against it because of the parameters that they're putting into place. So the state did a survey a while back now, probably 2, 3 years, where they hired a third-party consultant to come in and do a bed occupancy survey. And it really looked at the wrong thing, because if you look even at the neighbors, we have a closed household, so they think we have space, kind of thing. So we do. We don't have enough staff. So and we're not the only ones that have unused beds. So when they look at it, they say there's plenty of nursing home beds. There are. They were looking at the wrong problem. Staffing is the problem. So there's been a big push from the Hospital Association, as well as some other associations regarding this. So the state did look at it. It was also had to do with the process of changing ownership, and it being done technically wrong for many, many years. So they basically opened up this big can of worms. So it is a current advocacy thing. The bill that's out there currently about it, as a leading age as an association, as well as Wisconsin County Homes as an association, doesn't agree with some of the wording and decision-making processes in it, because they were actually talking about changing it. So not necessarily saying no more nursing home beds, but you could apply for them. But their parameters of who would get them were not realistic. It would have to be in your county, like 90-some% of beds would have to be filled and things like that to get more beds put back into the county. So and that's skewed by the things like closed households, or there's some communities that hold licensures when they dropped from being double rooms to single rooms. They hold licensures so that in the future, if they want to build another nursing home, they can use those licensures. So then that automatically looks like the building's only half full, even though it's only ever intended to be single rooms going forward. So it's an issue. So it could be, yeah.
Well, yeah, put on what you think.
Just the question would be, how can that be corrected so that the correct information is out there?
So there's some lobby groups that are working on that, that represent the nursing home groups. So they're working to try to put our opinions into it as well so that it works for both.
Anything we can do?
I don't think at this point, no.
Yes, sir.
Do you happen to have the name of the bill you're speaking of, that, or the number of it?
I will get it to you,
Okay.
because
Also,
I don't want to mess it up.
Who's writing it? Who's writing the bill?
Yeah, I will get it to you.
Okay, thank you.
I will send it to the whole committee.
Okay.
Okay, so the next time you'll have some for us to, okay, thank you. Any other comments on the legislative agenda then? Okay. Well, next we get to see some financial reports this time.
Yes.
That's great.
If anyone didn't get them online, I do have physical copies as well. So I will, before we even start,
Okay.
make a caveat here is please don't look at the total projected for 2025. Something in the spreadsheet
Okay.
went way off. So the actuals are correct, but the projected, there must be something wrong with a formula there because that's not correct. So ignore that line. I caught it after it went to print and it wasn't worth sending out another email.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we already had 3, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Yes, and I apologize for the multitude of emails when we moved meetings around, to get the financials closed for November. Have to wait a little bit extra because our meeting's normally a week later, so they have more time. But is there any questions on the vouchers to start?
I like the way they're set up now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gordy, any questions?
No, I don't. I looked at everything this morning.
I can go through a brief rundown of the financials. So these are year-to-date through November. So they include all of the normal things. Public charges, again, is our, what we charge for residents to stay with us. We have interest, miscellaneous charges, and then donations, with a total revenue thus far of 16 million, just over 16 million. Then we have our expenses, including our salary and fringe, agency costs, operation, depreciation, and any CIP projects, with a total expense of 14 million, and then a net of 1.728, and then without depreciation, a net of just over 2 million.
Is, well, sometimes you get money in later, and so is this, it's not going to change a huge amount in 1 month, is it?
No, it should not change a ton, and we'll have bills coming in and payments coming in as well that are December payments through the end of January, probably. We normally get finalized numbers sometime around February, March for 2025, but it should not change a ton from here out. We don't have any major payments or anything like that left that would need to come out of there. I don't think our heater on top of the kitchen is going to cost a ton, maybe a couple $1,000s. So not enough to affect the end result.
Looks like a nice result. Mhm. Okay,
And then we can go through, and the next pages are all the individual buildings. And then we can go through the more broken down reports, which include, that's really small print. Our agency, we can make that bigger going forward and or turn it, turn the landscape. So our agency staffing report, so our year-to-date spend so far is $3 million, $3.4 million, which at the year-to-date end, or the year end of 2024 was 4.6. So looking a little bit better. We are projected to get close to that still, with a whole nother month in there, but a little bit better. The breakdown of each kind of agency staffing is on there. And then we go down to the nursing staff financial report of the total nursing staff, or the NDC staff. And then the bottom is the total expense. So we like to look at that one because it is what it is costing us to staff the nursing staff, because just the agency expense is not all above and beyond the total cost, because we would have some expense from having internal staff as well. So the bottom there is the actuals for 2025, is 8.8 million as of right now, with a total projected of 10.8, which is right in line of what our total was last year as well.
now in looking at the changes month to month, it seems like all the projected in these sheets are too big.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be the same issue as what was on the overall financials of the formula being off. We are still trying to figure out some of the spreadsheets that were created from people who are no longer here, with a couple of new staff doing an excellent job, I might add, of putting all the pieces together. So basically our whole financial team, with the exception of one person, is new within the last year and a half, with the people, the person putting these together is new to the neighbors in the last couple of months. So she had been working at Dunn County in finance, but taking on the neighbors stuff is new to her. So they're putting the pieces together and doing really, really well, but there might still be a few hiccups and things like this.
Yes, Supervisor Story.
What I'm wondering is, for the minutes for next time, then would they reflect that the financial report has some corrections that are needed to be done so that we're going to be able to approve those minutes? But then when you do find out what the changes need to be, will we get some kind of a corrected report?
How about if we get a corrected financial report, hopefully, for well, we're not meeting in December.
It is December.
Ah, it is, isn't it?
It's almost over.
Would it be good enough if we waited till January, then that would give them time to figure out what's going on?
Mhm.
Yeah. and
But we
we'll
hope it
have
would be by
a-
then, huh?
Yeah, so we'll have a end of year report as well once December's all done. And then those numbers all fluctuate for a little bit while we get payments in and things. And then there will be a finalized, this is the year end report. And then as well as our audit from our audit firm would have the finalized numbers as well.
Okay.
You good? No, I don't know if this is part of it or not, but I know you've been struggling since someone left quite a while ago to get things back in. Are you getting someone back in the building now
Yes.
that's working finances? Will that be of assistance?
Yes, so, I was gonna add that at the end of this, but thank you, perfect.
Oh.
So so the county has, decided to decentralize finance a bit. So, if you were here in 2020, or 2017, sorry, was when finance was centralized. Now, some of the financial staff are going back to departments. So the financial management staff, so the CFO, assistant finance director, and a few other positions are staying centralized to support the overall operation of the county as well as the smaller departments and shared departments. They will be doing that, but then some of the departments are having their finance staff back in their departments, especially if they're a separate fund. So the neighbors, DHS, highway are all separate funds. So we will have our finance staff back at the neighbors. They'll still work closely with the CFO, assistant finance director, all of those different positions, but they'll be at NDC. Hopefully, sometime at the beginning of the new year. We're still working on some space. We have to clean out some COVID junk, for lack of a better term, which I have asked Brady to help me with, but they've been a little swamped lately with all the things they said. So there's not a rush as they obviously have space here as well, but they will actually be on site. But as of January 1, they will be directly in NDC's department for cost center as well as reporting structure. So they are going to be neighbors staff instead of general county staff, and then hopefully move them physically out to our building as well, which will be really nice for both resident interaction situations. We won't have to send families over here if they need to talk to finance or have finance come over there, as well as some of the on-site cash handling situations that they either come over there or we have multiple people do. It'll be a much better workflow as well as the financial management position of it will be reporting to me, which will work better in practice of since that was kind of structurally, they had previously reported to the assistant finance director, but in practice and the day-to-day work, it's coming to me anyway, so it makes more sense is the goal.
Okay, and Jenna, in just a second, so does that mean that they become part of the neighbor's salary and fringe costs?
Yes, they already were. We
Okay.
paid them. So when you see on the vouchers, there's an item for financial services, internal financial services. We already paid their salaries. It'll just be one less transfer.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Jenna, thank you.
Just a point of clarification. So the Committee on Administration will review the proposal to transfer these FTEs. So it is pending kind of approval of the Committee on Administration. The challenge with these situations is wanting to be transparent about the planning with staff and everyone involved, right? While also kind of making sure that the proper approvals are in place. So I will say there's been discussion of this for several months now,
Probably 6.
a handful. And so that will be deliberated later today with the Committee on Administrations as like the final say. So just
And-
wanted to add that
Oh,
clarification.
that's great. And you said you were using plural, so you were getting more than one person back into our building?
Correct. If it goes through the Committee on Administration, there's 4 individuals that currently work on NDC's finances. So we have billing staff, claims staff, and then business management
Okay.
staff as well.
Great. I'm glad you were here too to straighten that out. And the total cost of the switching around, it's still, there's no increase in cost because they're being moved here or there.
Right,
Okay.
right. if you watch the Committee on Administration meeting back or want to look at the packet, there is more information on how many FTEs are transferring and in the end it being a wash across the county and not adding any FTE.
Yeah, if you weren't here when it got centralized, that was an interesting time too. It was, okay. Let's see, we've looked through the vultures.
I got a
And
question.
we have, okay, go ahead.
Will this ultimately enable us to function in finance with less people than when it was centralized? Or is that the ultimate goal, is to be able to reduce the size of the financial department or whatever with less people doing, splitting it up in a way that's more efficient? Is that what's happening here? Or-
Yeah, so when the centralization took place, a lot of the really program-specific finance, or I guess program-specific staff that handled fiscal-related duties within, for example, the neighbors, were centralized to finance with the goal in mind being kind of cross-training and things of that nature. That was about 7 years ago that centralization happened. As Carmen mentioned, what was lost in that is the direct oversight by like Carmen as the nursing home administrator in those day-to-day, or, like having that close oversight and decision-making power. I think I don't want to speak for you, but it could be challenging if you had the fiscal staff, they have a question and a decision needs to be made. Carmen wasn't able to answer it. It had to funnel through, a finance manager. So looking to gain efficiency back in that way. Ultimately, the number of FTE, the number of people in the finance division will be a lot less with this move, but I would say the primary goal is to gain efficiencies within each of the fund-specific departments. I think it's probably been said before that our finance division is larger than the average size, and I think that's because we do have program-specific roles that are in finance right now. That is not the typical structure. So
Right.
we are kind of going back to the normal size as other counties.
Yeah, because I've been told that we have as big a finance department in the county as they do at the state level. Is that true?
While it may be true with like the number of people, the actual duties being performed,
Mhm.
it's not apples and apples.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that the committee doesn't mind when we go a little bit astray, because this is the time that we can get some information to it. And it was relevant to what's happening here. Any other questions? Well, then I would accept someone to move that we accept the vouchers and financial reports. Supervisor Lyon was very quick on the uptake there, and she moved. And we need a second.
Second,
And Supervisor Laufer just barely beat you to it because of the time lag there. Supervisor Wolf. All in favor? Aye. Any
aye.
opposed? Any opposed? It passes. That looks like the end of the agenda, except for next meeting time, date, and announcements. Do you have any announcements, Carmen?
I do not have any announcements besides please eat some cookies. They were provided by Alyssa Dowdy and her family because they had extras. So, and then I will get the next meeting date really.
Okay, any announcements from committee members, Gordy or anybody else? Okay. And the next meeting date will be 2026. Phew.
Oh goodness, they're not out here yet because I just did this year. I'm working on it. I gotta count Thursdays. Okay, it would be the 22nd. Would be if we're going with the same time and dates. I don't have it on my calendar yet because I only did 2025s when I did the whole year. Fourth Thursday. And the first is on a Thursday, so this is the earliest
Okay.
it could be. So the 22nd would be the fourth Thursday of January.
That all good?
9.
9. Supervisor Wolf, that good for you?
I believe that works.
Good deal. Then we have that. We are adjourned. And
Thank you.
thank you for hanging in there, Gordy. Rest of you, hey, thanks for coming in at 1 and doing that.